Hello and welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated show on MTV that has a tough time with maths. That's right, we're talking about The Challenge, Season 41, Vets and New Threats, Episode 14. And I want to give a happy early, or if you're watching this on Friday, happy Halloween, hence the costume. There's so much that we have to talk about in this episode because it was exciting that the power has shifted to the other side, and now both sides had to sweat it out in a vote for the first time in a long time. And so let's just start off where last episode left off, and that was Adrian and Theo winning in the elimination against America and Leroy and coming back to the challenge house. They are all excited. And speaking of excited, the next day we see that Nani and Will are still getting very close with each other, to the point where Nani said, "Is that a roll of quarters in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?" Now, somebody who isn't happy is Sydney, who needs a little bit of a pep talk from Turbo, who gives her a little bit of therapy, trying to put things in perspective of she doesn't need to be sad about anything. Maybe their performance wasn't great. Maybe they were on the chopping block last week, but guess what? That was last week. Shake it off. And finally, we have a conversation between Jake and Leo, which I'll be honest, I don't necessarily know what they're really talking about. I guess the idea is that Leo is excited to be still in the game and to have his number one ally not be directly in his alliance, which I guess is cool and all, but realistically, the only thing I got from this scene is a big flashing light that said that one of these two guys are going directly to the elimination, which is a big foreshadowing as everybody dons their challenge gear, head down near a body of water for this week's daily challenge called Rune Race. Everybody will be tethered together yet again. DJ will blow the horn. They will run down this tarmac to their puzzle station to remember 4 runes. They will then run to a board to find their runes and the according number to them. They will come back, solve a math equation, which will give them a code to a cage that is holding their puzzle pieces underwater. They will release their puzzle pieces, get them back to their puzzle station, and put together their puzzle. The team to get first place will be safe, and the last place team will be sent directly to the elimination. Now, before getting to the strategy of this daily challenge, I want to first say that I really like this daily challenge. It was difficult. It tested so many different aspects to these competitors and how they work as a team, from their endurance in running to their math skills, memorization, how they deal with swimming and very cold water in pressured situations, and putting a puzzle together, a relatively difficult puzzle together. Again, I thought that this was really great as a daily challenge. Now, it's always beneficial to try to win a daily challenge because you get safety. Yet Theo and Adrian, who desperately could use immunity and a week off from the elimination arena, are not looking to win this daily challenge. The numbers are whittling down, and we saw last week the vote came down to 1 vote for the other side. And now, if the Downstairs Alliance, UK Alliance, or Olivia's Mafia, whatever you want to call it, can keep all their votes on the table, they can force a tie and maybe push somebody into making a really tough decision in hopes that they don't want to vote in Theo and Adrian to the elimination. So the Downstairs Alliance is playing to not win and also not to lose, where they're hoping that the other side of the house, which has 5 teams, will take 2 votes off the table for winning and losing, which I think is a really exciting possibility coming into this daily challenge. One, it was already so much fun to watch this daily challenge, but to hear the strategy on top of it gave me goosebumps, and I really like seeing how everybody played this one. The first teams to feel like they got their math equation correctly and get into the water were Michaela and Cedric and Turbo and Sydney. However, Turbo and Sydney had a really tough time throughout this entire daily challenge. From Sydney not knowing her exact ruins to Turbo not doing well in the very cold water. They had to go in and out of the water a couple of times, whereas Michaela and Cedric, along with Nani and Justin, were able to get their puzzle pieces out first. They were neck and neck solving their puzzle, and it was Michaela and Cedric getting the win, getting safety, as well as keeping their hands clean. They feel like this could be a messy vote, so having safety going into this voting ceremony is great, but also being able to leave the voting ceremony going, I didn't vote for you, is also very beneficial. Nany and Justin get second place. Theo and Adrian do a really great job and get third place. Pretty much exactly what they wanted to accomplish in this daily challenge. But things do get kinda scary for the Downstairs Alliance / UK Alliance because the bottom 3 teams were Jake and Anissa, Olivia and Will, and Ashley and Leo. All 3 teams struggled in the math department, especially Olivia and Will, who, again, were just butting heads the entire time. Olivia said that she would take the math portion, but she was struggling. Theo was trying to help, but the wrong way, because he was not doing well with his maths. Eventually, Will was able to do the math correctly. All 3 teams undo their locks to retrieve their puzzle pieces. However, Ashley and Leo have a few of their puzzle pieces stuck underwater and they are unable to get them out. Ashley is starting to freak out under the pressure, starting to yell at Leo. The overall pressure both players are feeling is not conducive to helping them out of this situation, and ultimately it leads to them losing and coming in last place. So the final results are Michaela and Cedric are first, Justin and Nany are second, Theo and Adrian are third, fourth is Turbo and Sydney, fifth is Aviv and Jeremy, sixth is Jake and Anissa, seventh is Olivia and Will, and coming in last place is Leo and Ashley, and they'll be going directly to the elimination. And coming back to the challenge house, this is the exact results, the exact situation that Theo, Adrian, and the Downstairs Alliance wanted. Now going to the bar, there's a lot going on and also not a lot at the same time, if that makes any sense, because when we have Leo talking to Olivia and her side of the house, they're asking for him to say a name so it would make it easier for the vote and to push people into voting how Leo and Ashley want, and Leo is not giving up a name. I mean, he's talking, he's just not giving them a name whatsoever. He's like, whoever gets sent in, I don't care. If it's written in the stars, then I'm supposed to win. Turbo also isn't saying a name. He and Sydney are sitting on the opposite side of the bar and shutting down all game strategy. And then you have Adrian, who feels like she has some leverage in the game, and she goes to Jeremy and Aviv individually, trying to strong arm them or trying to give them a possibility of a different vote. If you vote with our side, you can have a definitive vote, and your name, which we are floating out there, will not have to matter, and you wouldn't have to be worried about having a coin flip and being sent in. Though Adrian's talks make sense, Aviv and Jeremy are skeptical, and Aviv doesn't like how Adrian is putting everything, and she's like, oh, you are trying to strong arm us to want to vote, or what? We could possibly go in? We'll go in. I want to vote for you more than ever now that you kind of set the table like this. But when one door shuts, another door opens. And this is where Theo's thought process comes in, which I thought could actually work. So Theo comes up with 3 different scenarios. It's either going to be a tied vote between he and Adrian and Turbo and Sydney, where it goes to a coin flip. It's either a tied vote between Theo, Adrian, and Jeremy and Aviv, where it goes to a coin flip, or they try to get Nany to flip in order to save Turbo, her number 1 in the game. Turbo has Nany as his number 1 in the game. So Theo's thinking, if I pressure Nany into wanting to save Turbo, maybe she'll vote with my side and we won't have to go to a coin flip. We can definitively stay out of elimination. What I was under the assumption is that Theo was gonna go up to Nany before the vote. Like when everybody was walking into the voting ceremony, I thought we were gonna see a flashback of like Theo and Nany in like the kitchen talking about the vote, and we can save Turbo and Sydney and we'll all vote for Jeremy and Aviv, and it can be Jeremy and Aviv versus Ashley and Leo. That's what I thought was going to happen. Instead, we get to the voting ceremony. TJ asks if anybody wants to make a claim, and then when nobody makes a claim, Theo instantly stands up and tries to strong arm Nany in front of everybody, which I understand why he decided to do it that way, but it was clearly not the move. I know that he didn't want to give her time to go talk to Turbo, time to go try to make a separate plan, but I just thought that this majorly backfired in the moment because Turbo instantly says, "Do not save me." Nany, enraged, stands up and instantly, without a second thought, votes for Theo and Adrian. It comes down to a 3-3 tie between Theo and Adrian, Turbo and Sydney. We go to a coin flip where Turbo and Sydney lose the coin flip and they will be sent into the elimination against Ashley and Leo. After the vote, and after some celebratory dancing by Theo and the Downstairs Alliance, Nany pulls Theo for a chat and goes, "Why'd you do that? Why would you put me in a really tough position that way?" And Theo's like, "That was the game. I was trying to save myself. I had nothing to lose. If you're supposedly Turbo's number one, you would want to save him. He is your friend." Nany, I think, gets hit with a wave of guilt because she is really close friends with Turbo and knows that Turbo would lay his game on the line for Nany, that Nany didn't even think about it for a second, even though during the voting ceremony, Turbo says, "Don't save me, stick to the plan, we'll go to the coin flip." Nany still feels like a bad friend to Turbo and even goes and talks to Turbo about it, apologizes, and Turbo's like, "It's all good. I'll go into elimination. I feel like I'm gonna come back. And you're not a bad friend." I want to give everybody in this situation positive feedback because even though I agree it is just a game and Theo was trying to do his best to make a move and get some leverage over Nany, maybe it wasn't in the right taste, but I feel like he was okay in the parameters of trying to get Nany to switch. But I will say that Theo did apologize because he said that he wasn't trying to hurt Nany or to make it personal or to make her cry. Turbo, I thought, took this on the chin. He did a really great job in consoling Nany. Even though he himself was supposed to get ready to go into an elimination, he was consoling Nany. And this is just a really tough night for Nany all around because she is either losing Ashley or Turbo. Everybody heads down to the arena to meet up with TJ for this week's elimination called Wake Me Up. This elimination game is played in 2 phases. The first phase, one person from each pair will be the runner. Well, they will run outside of the arena to collect 35 cannonballs one at a time. That is 35 laps to collect cannonballs, bring them back into the arena, then put them on a wheel that will pick up their partner all the way up this wall on like a grappling hook. Once they collect all 35 cannonballs and collect all their puzzle pieces from the wall, their partner will slowly descend, where then both players can then work on a puzzle. The first pair to solve a puzzle will win, stay in the game, where the other team will be eliminated. Now I will say I'm not a huge fan of this elimination just because the one partner doesn't do anything for over half of the elimination. I like when the eliminations are kind of hand in hand where both players on the team have equal things to do. It just felt like Sydney and Ashley were just kind of along for the ride until they collected all the puzzle pieces, all 35 cannonballs, and then they were going to do a puzzle. Leo is faster in collecting these cannonballs, getting a 2-lap lead over Turbo. That gave Ashley and Leo a head start on the puzzle. And really, this came down to the puzzle as an equalizer. Now, during her time waiting / collecting the puzzle pieces, Ashley would look down at the puzzle and feel like she knew how to solve it from the very beginning. She thought that you add up side by side and down the middle, and all those numbers had to equal the same thing. However, when I saw the puzzle, I instantly thought of All Stars Rivals, where it was Steve and Adam versus Devin and Leroy in Over a Barrel, where the teams had to transfer barrels with numbers on them, and then they had a triangle with a barrel with a number in the middle, and each side had to equal the number in the middle, which was the exact same puzzle in this elimination. The problem is that Ashley and Nisa were eliminated in All Stars Rivals an episode prior to that elimination. So if Ashley didn't watch through All Stars Rivals, then she wouldn't know this puzzle. But Turbo and Nany were still in the game at the time of All Stars Rivals when that elimination was played. Turbo knew that all the sides had to equal 11, and even though Ashley and Leo had a head start, Turbo and Sydney were able to solve the puzzle and get this win. So you have Turbo and Sydney winning this elimination, and Ashley and Leo were sadly eliminated. This game is getting tight with the numbers, as now we only have 7 pairs left. I assume 3 or 4 are going to be making the final, and if this past week's voting ceremony is any indicator of how the rest of this game is going to go with the numbers of who wins and who loses, this is going to get really tight in the competition portion, and I just can't wait. Strategy is going to be more important than ever. Winning is going to be more important than ever. Not coming in last place is going to be the most important, because I feel like these alliance numbers are going to start blurring here and there as we inch closer and closer to the finals. And the game is going to get more ruthless as everybody is going to be clawing their ways trying to make this final. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen next week with the voting, with the numbers, with the daily challenges. This is going to be so exciting. And I feel like we can have at least one stake a claim game left because I think Will is hitting his wall. They've been really foreshadowing how poorly Olivia and Will do in these daily challenges, that they're not working on their communication, they're not working on their teamwork, they're not talking while in the house, and I just feel like now that Leo is gone, and Leo was the #1 person that Olivia was looking to stake a claim on, that I think it's going to be Will who is going to want to take somebody on to try to stake a claim in somebody else. Who would that be? It can't be Nani because her and Justin are locked in for life. I mean, he would only have one of 3 opportunities, and that would be Michaela, Anissa, or Aviv. But let me know what you think on if he will even do it, and if he does, who would he go after? Let me know down in the comment section below. What do you think about this week's episode? What do you think about the daily challenge? What do you think about the elimination? What do you think about Theo's plan in trying to strong-arm Nani in the voting ceremony? I think it was a decent plan. I just think it was the wrong place at the wrong time. I still think that he should have talked to her before the voting ceremony, get her bearings, let her think it through, but trying to ambush her at the voting ceremony, I just think was the wrong move. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. And are you sad to see Ashley and Leo be eliminated? Would you like to see Ashley and Leo back for another season of the challenge? Let me know anything and everything down in the comment section below. I now want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to everyone who's watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really, really soon with more Challenge 41 content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace. Ruby-dooby-doo.